Welcome to Infinitia Verity, the place where curiosity meets discovery. If you're ready to explore the endless wonders of knowledge and uncover the truths behind the most fascinating mysteries of our world, you're in the right place. From history and science to the unknown, we dive deep into the stories that shape our reality. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an adventure into the vast realm of truth. Let's begin. The Cold War wasn't a traditional war fought with soldiers and tanks. It was a psychological and technological conflict that kept the world in constant fear of annihilation. Emerging from the ruins of World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union became the two dominant superpowers. Their ideologies, capitalism versus communism, stood in stark opposition, creating a global divide. The battleground for this war stretched across continents from Korea to Vietnam, from space exploration to the ocean depths. Yet, the most significant battles were invisible, fought in laboratories and research facilities, where each side raced to create weapons of unimaginable destruction. Nuclear weapons became the ultimate currency of power. By the mid-20th century, the arms race had reached dizzying heights. The United States had developed the first atomic bomb in 1945, followed quickly by the Soviet Union in 1949. But as the years progressed, the focus shifted from quantity to quality. Both nations sought to outdo each other by building bombs that were not only larger, but capable of delivering total annihilation. In this environment of brinkmanship, the concept of mutually assured destruction, MAD, emerged. The idea was terrifying yet effective. If both superpowers had the capability to destroy each other, neither would dare to strike first. This philosophy of deterrence defined the Cold War era. Interesting facts. 1. By the 1960s, the combined nuclear arsenal of the United States and the Soviet Union could destroy the planet several times over, giving rise to the chilling term overkill capacity. 2. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, just a year after the Tsar Bomba test, was the closest the world came to nuclear war, with tensions rising to an unprecedented level. It was in this volatile atmosphere that the Soviet Union sought to demonstrate its ultimate strength, leading to the creation of the Tsar Bomba, the largest nuclear bomb ever built. The creation of the Tsar Bomba, codenamed Ivan, began in early 1961 under the directive of Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. He wanted to send an unmistakable message to the West. The Soviet Union was unmatched in its technological prowess and military might. This wasn't just about defense. It was about asserting dominance on the world stage. Designing such a bomb was no small feat. The Tsar Bomba was a hydrogen bomb, a more advanced and powerful weapon than the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Hydrogen bombs work through a two-stage process. Fission triggers fusion, creating exponentially more destructive power. The Tsar Bomba, however, took this concept further with a three-stage design. Led by the renowned Soviet physicist Andrei Sakharov, the team crafted a bomb with a theoretical yield of 100 megatons of TNT. For context, this was over 5,000 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. However, concerns about fallout and atmospheric damage led the team to scale it down to 50 megatons for the test. The bomb itself was a technological marvel. It was 8 meters long, 26 feet, 2 meters in diameter, and weighed a staggering 27 metric tons. Its size and weight posed unique challenges. It required a specially modified Tu-95 bomber to carry it. The plane had to be stripped of non-essential equipment, and even then, it was barely able to lift off with the massive payload. Interesting facts. 1. The bomb's yield of 50 megatons released energy equivalent to 10% of the sun's output for the fraction of a second during the explosion. 2. The parachute deployed to slow the bomb's descent was as large as a football field, ensuring the bomber had time to escape the blast radius. Despite the complexity of its design, the Tsar Bomba's purpose was clear. It was a showpiece, a weapon built not for the battlefield but for the headlines. On October 30th, 1961, the world witnessed a spectacle unlike anything before or since. The Soviet Union selected Novaya Zemlya, a remote archipelago in the Arctic Ocean, as the test site for the Tsar Bomba. The isolation ensured minimal risk to human populations, though it was impossible to prevent the global ramifications of such a massive explosion. The test involved a meticulously planned sequence. The Tsar Bomba was carried aboard a Tu-95 bomber escorted by a smaller observation plane. The bomb was fitted with a parachute to slow its descent, allowing the bomber crew to escape to a safe distance. Even with this precaution, the crew knew they were risking their lives. When the bomb detonated at an altitude of 4,000 meters, the resulting explosion was apocalyptic. The fireball alone was nearly 10 kilometers wide, and its light could be seen over 1,000 kilometers away. The mushroom cloud rose to an unprecedented height of 64 kilometers, reaching the mesosphere and towering over the Earth like a grim monument to human ingenuity. The shockwave from the explosion was so powerful that it shattered windows in Finland, over 900 kilometers away. It circled the globe 3 times, registering on seismographs around the world. In terms of raw power, the Tsar Bomba remains unmatched, a singular event in human history. Interesting facts. 1. The energy released by the bomb was 1.4% of the total energy output of the sun during the same fraction of a second. 2. The detonation's thermal radiation could cause third-degree burns within a 100-kilometer radius under clear atmospheric conditions. The test was a resounding success for the Soviet Union, but it also served as a grim reminder of the destructive capabilities humanity had developed. The Tsar Bomba, with its sheer size and destructive capability, was never intended for practical warfare. In fact, its design was fundamentally impractical. Carrying the bomb required a highly modified aircraft, and its deployment would have been nearly impossible in a real combat situation. Why then did the Soviet Union dedicate immense resources to building a weapon that could never realistically be used? The answer lies in geopolitics and the psychological warfare of the Cold War. By 1961, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were reaching a fever pitch. The Soviets had suffered a blow to their prestige with the U-2 incident in 1960, where an American spy plane was shot down over Soviet territory. Premier Nikita Khrushchev needed a way to reassert Soviet dominance on the global stage. The Tsar Bomba was not just a weapon, it was a statement. Its very existence sent a clear message to the West. The Soviet Union was capable of producing the most powerful weapon in history, and they had the scientific expertise and industrial capacity to outmatch any rival. It was less a tool of war, and more a tool of intimidation, a psychological weapon designed to keep adversaries in check. But the Soviets also recognized the bomb's limitations. A full-scale deployment of such a weapon could have catastrophic consequences, not just for their enemies, but for themselves. A 100-megaton detonation could cause massive fallout, potentially harming neutral nations and even Soviet territories. For this reason, the Tsar Bomba's yield was reduced to 50 megatons for the test. Interesting facts. Nikita Khrushchev referred to the bomb as Kuskina Mat, a Russian idiom that loosely translates to, "We'll show you." This phrase encapsulated the bomb's purpose, a bold display of Soviet power. The bomb's designers included a lead tamper instead of uranium in the final stage to reduce fallout, demonstrating an awareness of its environmental and political ramifications. The Tsar Bomba was a weapon of deterrence in its purest form. Its purpose was not to be fired in anger, but to remind the world of the devastating consequences of nuclear war. The Cold War was a battle of minds as much as it was a battle of weapons. Both the United States and the Soviet Union understood that nuclear war would have no winners, only survivors, if any. Thus, the primary purpose of weapons like the Tsar Bomba was not to destroy, but to intimidate. This strategy of deterrence hinged on a single principle: fear. By demonstrating their capacity for destruction, both superpowers hoped to prevent war altogether. The Tsar Bomba was the ultimate expression of this philosophy. Its creation wasn't driven by a need for practical use on the battlefield. Instead, it was built to instill terror in the hearts of adversaries, ensuring they would never dare to strike first. The doctrine of mutually assured destruction, MAD, emerged from this era. The idea was simple yet horrifying. If one nation launched a nuclear attack, the other would respond in kind, leading to the total annihilation of both. Under this grim logic, peace was maintained not through trust or diplomacy, but through the shared knowledge of mutually guaranteed destruction. Interesting facts. The concept of MAD was first articulated by American strategist John von Neumann, who famously said, If you say why not bomb them tomorrow, I say why not today. If you say today at 5 o'clock, I say why not 1 o'clock. By the 1960s, both superpowers had developed intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, capable of delivering nuclear warheads to the other's territory within minutes, further heightening the stakes. The Tsar Bomba epitomized the fear-driven strategies of the Cold War. It was a weapon designed not to be used, but to loom over the world as a constant reminder of the thin line between peace and destruction. The Tsar Bomba was not created in isolation. It was part of a broader arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union. This race began in earnest during the late 1940s when the Soviets successfully tested their first atomic bomb, RDS-1, just 4 years after the Americans dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. From there, the competition escalated rapidly. Both nations poured billions into nuclear weapons research, each trying to outdo the other in power and technology. By the 1950s, hydrogen bombs had entered the scene, delivering yields far greater than traditional atomic bombs. For the United States, weapons like the Castle Bravo bomb, tested in 1954, represented their commitment to maintaining nuclear supremacy. The Castle Bravo test was the most powerful nuclear explosion conducted by the U.S., yielding 15 megatons, 1,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb. However, it also resulted in unintended fallout that contaminated nearby islands, causing international outrage. The Soviets responded in kind, culminating in the creation of the Tsar Bomba. With a yield far exceeding that of Castle Bravo, the Tsar Bomba was the Soviet Union's way of asserting dominance in the arms race. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a symbol of their technological capabilities and willingness to go to extreme lengths to secure their position as a superpower. Interesting facts. By the mid-1960s, the Soviet Union had over 7,000 nuclear warheads in its arsenal, while the US had nearly 32,000, showcasing the scale of the arms race. The cumulative cost of the arms race during the Cold War has been estimated at over $10 trillion, making it one of the most expensive conflicts in history. The Tsar Bomba represented the peak of this race, a weapon so powerful that it transcended its military purpose, becoming a symbol of the lengths humanity was willing to go in its pursuit of dominance. The Tsar Bomba was the brainchild of some of the brightest scientific minds in the Soviet Union, but none played a greater role than Andrei Sakharov. A theoretical physicist by training, Sakharov's contributions to the Soviet nuclear weapons program made him one of the most influential figures of the Cold War. However, his relationship with the bomb he helped create, and with nuclear weapons in general, was deeply complex. Sakharov's involvement with the Soviet nuclear program began in the late 1940s. His early work was instrumental in developing the RDS-37, the Soviet Union's first thermonuclear bomb. But it was the Tsar Bomba that cemented his place in history. Under immense pressure from Soviet leadership, Sakharov and his team designed a three-stage hydrogen bomb that would surpass anything the world had ever seen. Yet Sakharov's role in creating the Tsar Bomba was not without reservations. As he worked on the design, he became increasingly aware of the ethical and environmental consequences of nuclear weapons. In particular, he objected to the original plan for the bomb's yield to be 100 megatons, arguing that the fallout would be catastrophic. His concerns ultimately led to the decision to reduce the bomb's yield to 50 megatons for the test. Sakharov's involvement in the Soviet nuclear program took a profound toll on his conscience. By the mid-1960s, he had become one of the most vocal critics of nuclear testing, advocating for a ban on atmospheric nuclear explosions. His transition from bomb maker to peace advocate culminated in his 1975 Nobel Peace Prize, awarded for his work in promoting disarmament and human rights. Interesting facts. Sakharov's work on the Tsar Bomba earned him the title Father of the Soviet Hydrogen Bomb, a distinction he later viewed with deep ambivalence. Despite his criticism of nuclear weapons, Sakharov remained committed to the idea of deterrence, believing that a balance of power was necessary to prevent war. Andrei Sakharov's legacy is a testament to the moral dilemmas faced by scientists who work on weapons of mass destruction. His life serves as a reminder that even the most brilliant minds can wrestle with the ethical implications of their work. The Tsar Bomba's detonation in 1961 sent shockwaves around the globe, both literally and figuratively. The test's immediate impact was felt in the Arctic, where the explosion shattered windows and caused structural damage hundreds of kilometers away. But its long-term effects were even more profound, shaping international policy and public opinion on nuclear weapons. For the Soviet Union, the test was a resounding success. Premier Nikita Khrushchev used it as a propaganda tool, touting the bomb as evidence of Soviet superiority. In his speeches, he emphasized the Soviet Union's technological and scientific prowess, framing the test as a direct challenge to the United States. However, the international community was less impressed. The test drew widespread condemnation from Western nations, who viewed it as an unnecessary escalation of the arms race. It also raised serious concerns about the environmental and humanitarian consequences of nuclear testing. The massive explosion released a significant amount of radioactive fallout, sparking fears of contamination in the Arctic region and beyond. Public outcry over the Tsar Bomba and similar tests played a pivotal role in the eventual negotiation of the Partial Test Ban Treaty in 1963. This agreement, signed by the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, prohibited nuclear testing in the atmosphere, outer space, and underwater. While the treaty did not end nuclear testing altogether, it marked a significant step toward reducing the environmental and geopolitical risks associated with such experiments. Interesting facts. The Tsar Bomba's mushroom cloud was so large that it could be seen from over 1,000 kilometers away, creating a visual spectacle that underscored its terrifying power. Despite its impact, the Soviet Union initially downplayed the test's fallout, only later acknowledging its environmental consequences under international pressure. The global reaction to the Tsar Bomba highlighted the growing recognition of the dangers posed by nuclear weapons. It was a moment that forced humanity to confront the reality of its own destructive potential. While the Tsar Bomba remains unmatched in its sheer destructive power, the concept of deterrence continues to shape military strategies in the modern era. Today's weapons may not be as massive, but they are no less dangerous. Advances in technology have given rise to new forms of deterrence, from hypersonic missiles to AI-driven drones. Hypersonic weapons, capable of traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 5, have emerged as a game-changer in modern warfare. These weapons are designed to evade traditional missile defense systems, making them virtually unstoppable. Nations like the United States, Russia, and China are investing heavily in hypersonic technology, viewing it as the next frontier in the arms race. Another development is the rise of autonomous weapons systems, often referred to as killer robots. These AI-driven systems can identify and engage targets without human intervention, raising ethical concerns about their use in warfare. While proponents argue that such systems reduce the risk to human soldiers, critics warn of the potential for misuse and unintended consequences. Interesting facts. Russia's Avangard hypersonic missile, tested in 2019, is capable of reaching speeds of up to 27 times the speed of sound, making it one of the fastest weapons ever developed. The United Nations has held multiple debates on banning autonomous weapons, but no binding agreements have been reached, leaving the door open for their continued development. While these modern weapons differ from the Tsar Bomba in form and function, they share a common purpose: to deter conflict by demonstrating overwhelming power. Yet, as technology continues to evolve, the question remains: will these new deterrents succeed in preventing war, or will they bring us closer to the brink of destruction? The Tsar Bomba is more than just a historical artifact. It is a stark reminder of the heights and depths of human ingenuity. Though it was never used in warfare, its impact on global politics, science, and humanity's collective psyche is undeniable. Its legacy raises questions about the ethics of deterrence, the responsibility of scientific discovery, and the thin line between security and annihilation. In the decades since its detonation, the Tsar Bomba has remained a symbol of the Cold War and the broader nuclear arms race. Its unparalleled size and power set a benchmark for the destructive potential of nuclear weapons, one that has not been surpassed to this day. The bomb's very existence challenged humanity to confront the moral and existential dilemmas posed by such technology. One of the most significant legacies of the Tsar Bomba is its role in catalyzing international efforts to curb nuclear testing and proliferation. The Partial Test Ban Treaty of 1963, which banned nuclear tests in the atmosphere, outer space, and underwater, was a direct response to the public outcry following tests like the Tsar Bomba. It marked the beginning of a global movement toward arms control, eventually leading to treaties like the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Yet the lessons of the Tsar Bomba go beyond policy. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked technological ambition. While the bomb was a marvel of engineering, its creation highlighted the ethical dilemmas faced by scientists and governments. Andrei Sakharov, one of its key designers, would later become one of its most vocal critics, advocating for disarmament and human rights until his death. Interesting facts. Despite its power, the Tsar Bomba was so impractical that it could only be deployed under ideal conditions, making it a deterrent rather than a feasible military weapon. The test site on Novaya Zemlya remains a restricted area, serving as a haunting reminder of the bomb's destructive potential. The Tsar Bomba's story is one of contrasts, of human creativity used for both awe-inspiring achievements and terrifying destruction. It challenges us to reflect on the paths we choose as a species, and to consider whether our pursuit of power and security will ultimately bring us closer to peace or to devastation. The Tsar Bomba was more than a bomb. It was a message, a warning, a shadow cast over the world at the height of the Cold War. Though it was never intended to be used in combat, its detonation reshaped global politics and forever altered humanity's perception of its own destructive potential. It remains a potent symbol of the precarious balance between power and peace. As we look to the future, the legacy of the Tsar Bomba raises critical questions. How far are we willing to go in the name of deterrence? What are the ethical boundaries of scientific discovery? And most importantly, can humanity find a way to ensure peace without resorting to weapons of unimaginable destruction? The story of the Tsar Bomba reminds us that the most dangerous weapons are not always the ones that are used. Sometimes, their mere existence is enough to change the course of history. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, make sure to give us a thumbs up, share this video with fellow truth seekers, and subscribe for more captivating discoveries. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay curious, stay enlightened, and keep exploring with Infinitia Verity. See you in the next one.